Thank you for tuning in. You're in for an educational treat. What did you hate the most about school? When the teacher says you couldn't go to the bathroom because me was 5 minutes ago. For literally any grade. It doesn't make sense, especially with younger grades. When a 6-year-old says they need to go to the bathroom. It's not a question, it's a warning. In kindergarten, we went outside to play. But I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. When I asked the teacher to open the door swak and go, she said, "You should have gone when we were inside." "But Ms. I didn't have to go then." "Well, you can wait till you get home." It was the end of the day, so I tried waiting, but I couldn't. And that's the story of the one and only time I crapped my pants in school. Being lost in a subject and not being able to catch back up. Had that happen to me in algebra, and it eventually got so horrible trying to keep up with the juniors and seniors. I was a freshman. I ended up just sleeping in that class and spending every night doing my homework 3 times over. Being graded on coming up with questions to ask other people during a timed group presentation. My school called it a Socratic seminar, but if other schools did it too. I totally figured this one out. My presentation had to last X minutes, but there would be Y minutes for questions at the end. My grade and theirs would be affected by the quality of questions and answers. So I would write 5 note cards with questions and give them to 5 students carefully chosen to be spaced around the room, and people I didn't normally speak with. And of course I would have prepared those answers in advance. Everyone wins. The homework, because apparently 7 hours of school isn't enough. My greatest discovery was realizing that we do so little during those 7 hours that I could actually just do the homework in class most of the time. This is why I never had math homework in high school. I'd look at the homework on the board at the beginning of class and do it while everyone else was taking notes. Or whatever they did. Busy work. Poop that obviously provides no learning benefit, but that teachers feel the need to make you do anyways. Looking at you, every dumb diorama I had to put together in grammar school. The busy work. My school has this bullcrap called brain breakfast, which is just work you have to do during breakfast, aka right when we get in, to prepare us for class. Even though they just don't want us to talk. When teachers punish a whole class because of the actions of one/a few students. Just because the class idiot can't behave, it does not mean I should miss my break. This is so annoying. Hey, there is 250 people in this cafeteria, and since 2 of them can't listen, you all don't get free seating for the rest of the month. So fun story about a thing that almost happened at my school. There were fights every once in a while, and usually it was just 2 people who were mad at each other. Now before I go any further, I should explain who lunch works at my school. We have an hour for lunch, and what you can do is that you can go to tutoring with one of your teachers during lunch if you have to make up a test, you want to do the homework early, or you just need help with something. Honestly, amazing system that really helps struggling students with assignments. Anyway, what they were going to do, since there were fights happening too often, was that they were going to remove it completely from the system and do a thing where we had lunch for like 20 minutes, I think, then go back into the classroom you just came from for another 20 minutes, once again that time could be wrong but still, and then go back to the cafeteria for the last 20. Have no freaking clue how that would have helped anything at all, but they were planning on doing it. Then the pandemic hit and everything else happened. The fact that decades after graduation, I still have nightmares that I'm taking a test and don't know the answers. I love that bit in Avatar, The Last Airbender. And, I'm wearing pants. Teacher here, the thing I hate the most is when kids come to school hungry, with dirty clothes, or on edge first thing in the morning because they've had a poopy night. Breaks your heart. The best thing to do is greet every student, treat them with kindness, but not pity, and keep a good stash of healthy snacks in your classroom. You're a good teacher. Thanks, man. I don't always feel like a good teacher, but I always try my best. BC, the kids deserve it. The amount of hours I'm expected to put into it and still have time for extracurriculars and 8 hours of sleep, and the backlash I get when that didn't happen. Like, I'm sorry, it's not my fault that after 7 hours of school, all 8 of my teachers expect me to set aside an hour for their subject alone after I get home, since to each of them, no other subject is nearly as important or matters at all, but that I don't even get home until 6 p.m. or even 8:30 p.m. on certain days of the week, since I need to represent the school in academics, athletics, and the arts, and that once I do get home I have 2 dogs and 2 siblings to care for and help with their schoolwork before I can even do my own and care for my own body, before finally getting to bed and starting the day again. I apologize for finally getting to bed around 4 a.m. and not getting 8 hours of sleep. I've been a bit busy trying to not flunk out of high school, please my parents and colleges, and taking care of the people and pets in my life that can't take care of themselves on their own. My bad, my bad. The unfairness. I grew up in a rural area. My high school was the only one in the county and we had maybe 300 students, total. I got into university, and was suddenly in classes with kids who had attended public school in the same state and were years ahead of me. I remember being in calculus where my classmates were bored out of their minds while I was struggling. Now I'm a mom and I hear people talking disparagingly about the schools in that neighborhood or those people and realize there's not much changed. John Kennedy said, "All of us do not have equal talent, but all of us should have an equal opportunity to develop those talents." It's a nice dream, but it doesn't exist in reality in the US. It really sucks that I don't think this will ever go away because half the country doesn't seem to want to invest in the education of people who are the future of the world. We like to imagine that everyone has the same educational opportunities, but money unfortunately has a lot to do with whether or not your education will be adequate. The school system is old as crap. Kids are horrible. Teachers do not get paid enough to care. Okay, which is worst? The teachers having to deal with the students or the janitors that gotta clean up the fishy bathrooms and the crunched on the floor food in the lunchroom? Rather be a janitor for a public school than a public transportation hub. Have you seen the bathrooms at the Port Authority bus terminal in NYC? Just having to wake up early, to be honest. Even made worse when the hardest class of the day was the first class of the day. Made even worse when there was a test/quiz and I am forced to think with my sleepy brain. Seriously, I wouldn't mentally wake up until at least 11 a.m. This method of waking up early has undoubtedly decided some life pathways. In retrospect, it's annoying to think that I may have done better in some classes if they simply happened later in the day. The first class of the day I usually was too tired to give a duck about, and my energy levels went up after second period. Also that a different teacher might have been more adept at the material or somehow would have connected better to me with my learning styles. Like the realization that components of my education came down to actual ducking/uck of the draw at times is infuriating. What did I miss or falter on because the administration decided to place me in a morning math class? Duck. You can only use their designated days off, and if you miss a day then you're behind for like the rest of the week. And no one bother to let you know there are things you have to turn in. Yup. I have had teachers who say it's your responsibility to figure out what you missed, and get it from someone else. Not everyone takes notes the same way, and they don't always remember/have the work that you missed. And then you have to not only do work for that day, but you also have to make up what you missed over the absent period, putting you farther and farther behind. The bullying by both other kids but also the teachers. One of my teachers ended up basically blackmailing me. Can we have a story with the teacher? You can leave out what you don't want to share. It's probably not the way you think it is, but my class teacher used to hate me, just as she hated my father when he went to the same school. It's maybe a bit complicated, but in Germany, after your first 4 years you will get sent to different schools depending on your grades, and I got sent to the highest, gymnasium. I wasn't really a good student mostly because I was a lazy F, but I would have passed. Yet my teacher decided that she didn't want me anymore and called my parents and told them that they have a few days to get me off that school and sent me to a different one, a lower one, a real schule, or she will straight up forge bad grades onto my report and have me kicked out. After that I went to a real schule for 3 years just to get told that I should go back to a gymnasium. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.